This is a part of MOOC on Energy Development and Sustainable Energy. Topic 2: Energy Development and Current Policies in Developing Countries. The context of this topic will be in global trends in energy, sustainable energy development, strategy formulation tools in energy sector from a management perspective, and energy development policy. Finally, there will be a case study regarding China's 3 decades of changing strategies in energy development. Global trends in energy. Before talking about global trends, we should understand better about the ongoing dual challenges affecting our sustainable energy future. As we know, there is a strong link between human progress and energy consumption. About 80% of the world's population live in countries where average energy consumption is less than 100 gigajoules per head. According to the United Nations Development Programme, an increase in energy consumption up to around 100 gigajoules per head is associated with a substantial increase in human development. It means that people everywhere around the world who have limited access to energy should have more access in order to achieve economic betterment and well-being. On the other hand, the climate change and other environmental problems are threatening our life, and negative effects of industrialization, including carbon emission, are top concern of the policymakers in a global scale. In one word, the dual challenge in front of humankind is more access, less carbon. It is inevitable. In this slide, I want to share 2 projections about future trends in energy in the next 30 years. Firstly, after more than a century of rapid growth, global primary energy demand plateaus around 2030, primarily driven by the penetration of renewable energy sources into the energy mix. According to the McKinsey's Energy Insight report, it is the first time in history that growth in energy demand and economic growth are decoupled. So, it must be a positive factor to the world to be succeeded in its long journey towards sustainability. Secondly, renewable resources will almost double their share in the overall energy mix from now until 2050 and will provide more than half the electricity by 2035. Therefore, carbon emissions are projected to decline due to decreasing coal demand. Here, we must understand the nexus between the energy and sustainable development goals. Energy can be a powerful tool for ensuring sustainable development, and energy policies can support sustainable development by following features. It is not an exhaustive list. First, by delivering adequate and affordable clean energy supplies, including liquid and gaseous fuels for cooking and electricity for domestic and commercial use, to underserved areas. Second, by encouraging energy efficiency, smart use of energy. Third, by accelerating the use of new renewables. Fourth, by widening the diffusion and use of other advanced energy technologies. Also, on the other hand, energy is in the centrality of major challenges and opportunities the world faces today. Economic growth, security, climate change, agriculture, tackling with social problems, and in any other fields, universal access to energy is equally important. In this sense, the United Nations has adopted access to clean energy as the 7th goal of sustainable development. Focusing on universal access to energy, increased energy efficiency, and the increased use of renewable energy is crucial to creating more sustainable and inclusive communities and resilience to environmental issues like climate change. At this time, 1 in 7 people has limited access to electricity. There are approximately 3 billion people who lack access to clean cooking solutions and are exposed to dangerous levels of air pollution. Because of the fact that the United Nations sets 5 common targets that must be achieved by 2030, of which to ensure universal access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy services, and to increase substantially the share of renewable energy in the global energy mix, and to double the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency, and to enhance international cooperation to facilitate access to clean energy research and technology, and to expand infrastructure and upgrade technology for supplying modern and sustainable energy services for all the developing countries. Making an energy development strategy is a complex process that requires a significant resource allocation and has a great impact on all other sectors of a national economy. As a multidimensional phenomenon, sustainable energy development has an obligation to integrate economic, environmental, social, and institutional subsystems into one entity while taking into account their interaction. That is why every country has their own energy master plans aligned with other sectoral policies as well as global new paradigm. And in this slide, we will be familiarized with basic management tools that can help us to identify the context or the environment of making energy strategy. First of all, strategy formulation is the development of long-range plans for the effective management of environmental opportunities and threats in light of corporate strengths and weaknesses. Before formulating long-term strategies, one should have a firm knowledge on environmental variables as illustrated in the graph. From macro to micro levels, variables which have an impact for energy development must be elaborated with ground researches and expertise as the process of environmental scanning is the basis of strategic formulation. In order to define strategic goals, it is necessary to define indicators of sustainable energy development. Pest screening is one of the widely used methodology that identifies such indicators in an organized way. In detail, we can divide the macro-level variables into 4 categories, namely political and legal, economic, sociocultural, and technological. A non-exhaustive list of macro-level environmental variables as illustrated in the chart. For example, share of research and development expenditure in GDP is an essential indicator showing national capacity to compete in science and technology. Basically, research and development expenditure in developing countries are low that adopting new technology in the field of renewable will be a hard task comparing to developed countries. Likewise, we can screen out various types of macro-level variables by using pest analysis methodology. As we agreed before, strategic formulation is the development of long-range plans for effective management of environmental opportunities and threats in light of corporate strengths and weaknesses. Actually, the easiest and best methodology to evaluate internal strengths, weaknesses, and external opportunities and threats is the SWOT, simply the abbreviation. To be sure, S and W come from internal environment, O and T always come from external environment. We can derive the SWOT chart, TOWS matrix, for better understanding of strategic choices shown in the chart. Here, you have 4 different combinations of strategies including SOs, WOs, STs, and WT. For example, Mongolia has a potential of renewable energy sources, which is the biggest S. Also, the global trend of promoting renewables can become the strongest O for Mongolia. In this case, the SO strategy will be by using its renewable energy resources, Mongolia can attract investment in renewables from global market. In this slide, we tried to differentiate between terms like goal, strategy, policy, and policy instrument. Each term is explained with ground examples that you can easily refer to the chart. According to this chart, an energy development policy is courses of action to implement energy development strategies. In order to reach the Sustainable Development Goals, countries may accelerate the deployment of sustainable energy technologies and support energy sector innovation. For instance, India, China, and Nigeria and other developing countries are investing in diversified sources of renewables technology and became the major contributors to the build of renewables by 2035. Here we are going to discuss about the milestones in China's energy policy in the last 30 years, and we'll try to address the changings of its energy strategy in relevance with global paradigm. China pursued both internal and external dual-track energy strategy as it is one of the biggest players in the global energy market, such as the second biggest net importer of coal, second in oil, and fourth in gas. Internally, energy efficiency, source diversification, reservation, and market policies were planned as key policy options. Externally, China seeks import diversification and foreign investment policies to secure its energy sector. China's energy strategy can be classified into four main periods based on its major shifts in policy. Each period will be explained in detail in the following slides. The first period is between 1992 to 1997, where the government was inexperienced with national energy strategy and global order in energy governance. Until 1993, China was a self-sufficient energy user, and until 1997, there was no significant gap between energy consumption and production, and just a mild increase in consumption was observed. Phase 2 started from 1997 and continued until 2002, when China's energy consumption exceeded the production and the gap widened abruptly. During this period, China's government has opted for foreign markets in order to diversify oil imports to invest in upstream markets in resource-rich developing countries. The result was splendid. As we see from the oil consumption chart, it was the wisest policy to securitize the gap between consumption and production of oil. Then from 2002 to 2012, China's government became confident about its energy strategies abroad and started to expand to new locations and new technologies. Also, starting from 2007, it gave much more emphasis on natural gas and turned its foreign policy to Central Asian countries. As a result of loan for resource and market for resource policy, the crude oil import has diversified in a great range in 2003 comparing to 1995. The fourth phase started in 2012, and China's government declared its global role in energy governance by initiating mega-scale projects to accelerate renewable energy cooperation in a regional or global level. Within the framework of One Belt, One Road, China expressed its global ambition to integrate regional energy market by creating supergrids. From the chart, we can easily observe that China's energy mix is gradually diversified by renewable and cleaner sources as a result of the national mega projects and renewable energy, including the pictures shown. This is the end of the lecture. Thank you for your attention.